Okay, and we are live. Welcome to a new episode of All Things Xbox Podcast. Once again, I got Logan with me. Logan, how you doing this week?
Doing good, man. Ready to talk about a lot of exciting developments and games. And yeah, we got QuakeCon coming up, Gamescom, Jeff Keighley's little he's got so many different shows. His next one, whatever it is. So yeah, we got a lot going, man. How about you?
Yeah, it's been good here. Outside of the censorship stuff, which I'm not going to rant about, but I could for like 5 hours. It's been a good week for gaming, and we haven't had a show for 2 weeks. Logan had a family thing, and also I just randomly got sick last week, which was lovely. Um, Now, before the show went live, behind the scenes, I've been having a bunch of technical difficulties. So if there's any audio issues while you're listening live, just let me know in the chat because, again, what an absolute mess. Basically, OBS, the software I use to set this podcast up, reset every single setting. So I will cry myself to sleep at night because that literally took me an hour to figure out. Um, but anyway, hope people enjoy the show. Sorry for having the past week off. We're back to a regular schedule. Before we get into all the topics and what we've been playing, we have the first super chat of the day by Adidas. I'm trying to pronounce it the American way. 20 0. Thank you very much for the $2. He says salute. It's greatly appreciated. It's going to be a good show. We have like 11 topics. We're probably going to go into maybe like 15, 16, 17 topics because it's been a busy week. We've got a bunch of cool stuff to talk about. And the cool thing is, it's all good news. Very good news, especially if you're an Xbox fan and maybe you've been looking at prices of future games. I've got good news for you. Very good news. But anyway, thank you for the $2. Adidas 20 Logan, it's been a long 2 weeks. What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing Space Marine Remastered. Um, really enjoying it. I had missed out on it on the 360,
Yeah.
and it was one that I always kind of bugged me that it wasn't BC. Like I had bought it when the 360 store was getting shut down, so I could have it and get around to it. But the fact that they shadow dropped it, I was like, dude, heck yeah, I've been wanting this. So I've been playing through that. I'm on the last act. With the chaos section
Oh,
where
yeah.
everything just goes haywire.
Brutal.
And it's like, well, that escalated quickly. Um, but yeah, enjoying that and almost done with that. And then after that, I've been playing. I tried this new game. It was in Play Anywhere and Cloud added recently. It's called Licked Spear,
Oh,
like
yeah.
double something edition or whatever. And I was just like, all right, this looks okay. I'll give it a shot. And I'm really liking it. It basically, for those who haven't played it, I don't remember if you know, but like you back in the day, you remember battlegrounds and like they had those flash animation games and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that. There used to be like one that was like a stickman bowman or archer game.
I used to play that.
I was hooked on that game. I loved it so much. This is basically that, but you're throwing laser javelins instead. And it's a ton of fun, and I'm hooked on it. Definitely recommend it. And it's perfect for cloud or mobile gaming or on your big screen. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing. How about you, man?
I've been playing a bunch of different things. Before we get into what I've been playing, what did you think of the jump pack levels in Space Marine?
Oh, I love them so much. I love Hulk smashing with
Yeah.
the power hammer. It's so much fun. Death from above.
Yeah, best part of that game. Yeah, I've been playing a bunch of stuff. I've actually been playing one game occasionally in my mobile phone browser. So if people get bored and just want to play something quick on the phone, that is weirdly addictive. Just go to Google on your phone and type fruit game, and it's literally the top link. You combine fruit to make bigger fruit, which makes you get a higher score. It's the most casual game ever, but when you play that and you're waiting for a train, it's pretty good. Um, But when it comes to main games, I've been playing this game, and I've been talking about this game for like 3 years non-stop because I just enjoy it. I play it regularly. It's called Hard Space Shipbreaker. That game is it's my addiction. Like, I can't pull myself away from it. I got to the top 20 in the worldwide leaderboard, but the problem is that the game crashes. Like the leaderboard crashes once you get to a certain score. So the leaderboard will probably never change from now on out, unless the devs actually go in and fix it. But as far as I know, the devs are done with it, which is a shame. But the game is going to get spin-offs in the future. But I've been playing that. Here's my weekly Glaze Final Fantasy 16 segment because I've been playing that, and let me tell you, that game just delivers. It's so good. And the thing is, I get how people might be sick of me talking about it, but what I do on social media is that I just tend to post about the game until I'm finished with it. And, you know, I'm playing that game an hour or two every few days, and it's damn good. It really is. It's spectacle. It's we haven't really had a game on Xbox like this ever. And the funny thing is, I've complained about Final Fantasy games in the past being difficult. Like Final Fantasy X has some of the most absurd difficulty spikes ever. But
Even at the beginning,
yeah,
stupid fish.
yeah, stupid fish, stupid difficult. But Final Fantasy 16, I'm not gonna lie, it's easy. When you start the game, there's two different modes. There's action and there's story. They both basically have the same leveled characters and enemies, but the thing is, if you play on story, you essentially have to hit one button to pull off moves, whereas on action, it's how you should really play it. But like even on action, it's pretty easy. And then you could add modifiers, which come in the form of like rings and pendants, which could make the game easier. So I've had to stop wearing pendants in the game to make the game somewhat challenging. Maybe I've leveled up too much too quick, but honestly, a Final Fantasy game for me being too easy, I'm not really going to complain about it because I'm enjoying the ride. The story is phenomenal. The acting is incredible. And honestly, I've said this time and time again, I can't really pick any faults with the game. You know, some of the side quests can be a bit tedious, but then again, you can finish them within 60 seconds, and you don't have to do them. So it's like, isn't it my own fault for wanting to complete everything? Maybe I'm just giving the game like the benefit of the doubt, but honestly, it's just an amazing experience. And if it's going to be people's first Final Fantasy game, they're going to love it. They're really going to love it. The way they do summons in the game is possibly my favorite of the entire franchise. Huge spectacle, big boss battles, amazing. And I've also been playing Cyberpunk. Sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, I was saying, how's Bahamut? Speaking of summons, he was my favorite.
Incredible. I started so basically you fight bosses before you get to control. I don't want to spoil parts for people, but you essentially have to fight, and I think that's how you did it in 10 as well. You had to battle the summon before you could use them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Bahamut in Final Fantasy X being an absolute pain. But in this, like, I started the Bahamut boss fight last night, and it is spectacle, absolute spectacle, like phenomenal. And like Logan, I know you've played Final Fantasy games before, but they done completely different in this game, which is so refreshing because, you know, in 15 they kind of played out with as these little cutscenes. In 10 they were controllable characters. In 16 it's something different. And I think that's what makes this game so good when it comes to its summons. But man, I'm probably going to be talking about that game until I finish it. I'm guessing the rate I'm going through the game, I'll be done within the next 1 to 2 weeks. But I've also been playing Cyberpunk 2077. And the funny thing is, one of my best mates who always talks about the game, like he's obsessed with Final Fantasy. I say I've got Final Fantasy on the brain with Cyberpunk 2077. he's been telling me for like ages, like, get back into it. You're gonna enjoy it because I've always talked up Cyberpunk on Twitter and on here, but the truth is I haven't actually finished the main story. I just assumed I got most way through the game. It turns out I mainly did the side quests and the Pan Am romance, side quest storyline, which is what you have to do really if you're playing as male V. Otherwise, you're just missing out. But I have to say I'm blown away. When my mate told me like they've completely changed aiming with 2.0, my God, yeah, he meant it. I you could tell they've had some first-person shooter developers actually in the studio telling them what they should do because before 2.0, I couldn't aim at all in that game. But they've added things like aim acceleration. They've changed how the dead zones work. You can change basically everything across the board, and that was a big complaint for a lot of people was the aiming. In a first-person shooter, you kind of want it to be good, and now I'd say it's really good. You can basically aim how you want. If you mess around with the settings a lot, you could essentially get it to control like Call of Duty, which is nice. But my God, what an immersive world! There's no game like it, and thankfully the game had its its big comeback because when the game was fixed in 2022, nobody was talking about it because it was fixed the same week as Elden Ring. As soon as that came out, nobody was talking about Cyberpunk, but that bloody anime Edge Runners saved the game, and it's incredible. I'll be playing that for the next few weeks. But yeah, Logan, did you play Cyberpunk?
I actually have not yet. I waited until the Phantom Liberty came out, and so then I got the complete edition. And I was waiting in case they ended up dropping another expansion because that had been rumored for a while.
Yeah.
But seeing as that doesn't seem to be a thing, at least in the near future, I'll probably jump in soon. Plus, I got the controller to go with it now, so I kind of just have to.
Yeah, so I have to say, like, as much as I prefer the series controller just because of the ergonomics and just how it feels, but
Mhm.
I always go back to the Cyberpunk controller because it feels like it's made out of metal. There's like
Yeah, it has a different grip on it
yeah,
too. It feels different than the other one. So I'm like, I really like the vibe of this.
yeah, like I've been using that controller on and off for 5 years. It's got like the diamond grip on each side. It's the silver part of the controller feels like metal. It's hard to
Hmm.
explain, but it's such a cool controller. And yeah, Cyberpunk, man, like I it won't be getting another expansion. They have hinted that there'll be more hairstyles added. But they don't.
Why not?
And I think it's fair, right? I think a lot of single player games. I think people would wish for them to get 5 years of content, be it in the form of hairstyles or anything really. But they saved the game. They put out a huge expansion, and according to my friends, like the expansion for the game is essentially the size of a whole game. So, hey, you're in for a treat when you start it. I know some people complain about the first person thing. Honestly, I can't see how the game would even work in third person with how certain things happen in the game. But uh, incredible game, loving it. And I've also been playing a game that came out in Game Pass last week called Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Now, if people have Game Pass, Ultimate PC Game Pass, I highly recommend it. Beautiful game, great gameplay, but oh my god, that game destroyed me. uh, I'm not that good at parry based combat in anything basically, and that is parry based combat. Um, but it has interesting boss battles, really cool enemies. The world layout is pretty interesting. In a lot of Souls likes or action RPGs, level design basically acts like a fork, where one direction will take you to like a chest, and another way it will take you back to a previous area, and the third prong will take you to a new place. Well, this new game, it's basically the same thing where roads will lay out in forks, and each new fork will basically lead you to another fork that will lead to another fork. So rather than having 3 routes, you'll end up having like 16 routes that are interconnected. So if you're familiar with Dark Souls, it's kind of like that. But man, absolutely destroyed me. Oh, we have a super chat by Pyromad. Thank you very much for the £2. He says, Logan, I sent Rebecca to steal that controller. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that is a pretty sweet controller. I mean, look, I put it like this: I don't collect a lot of controllers. I have 2 collector's controllers, I'd say, from the past 5 years. One's the Cyberpunk controller, and one's the Starfield controller. Like those
Oh,
two.
I have that one as
Yeah.
well. Beautiful.
By the way, doesn't that Starfield controller have this weird sort of like matte paper feel to it?
Yeah, it does. And it has its own kind of grip feeling too. Like I was comparing some controllers the other day. Like I had been playing with my Forza Horizon 5 one, which
Yeah.
is like really sunbursty and colorful and stuff. But it technically has like a softer backing to it on the controller, like grips part,
Yeah.
but it still feels kind of hard at the same time. But then compared to like the Cyberpunk one or the Starfield one, it's definitely not the same. I like the grips on those better.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't have like many like collector's controllers, but the grip on the Starfield and Cyberpunk controllers, I wish they would make that a standard
Yeah,
because
agreed.
I haven't had any of the backs come off. I know some people have said that their Elite controller, the rubber comes off. I don't have an Elite, so I can't really say. But the one,
Mine split.
oh well, see, but this bloody Cyberpunk one, 5 years, not an issue. But yeah, thank you for the £2, Matt. It's such a good controller. It's actually a really hard controller to get now. That Cyberpunk one. It sold out in the UK when that came out after like 2 hours. So like, and that was like in the mega hype of Cyberpunk. And now ever since the games became more popular, people are collecting everything. Like, bit of a tangent. I tried to collect this sort of bust of Johnny Silverhand,
Hmm.
and you can't find it anymore. And a lot of Cyberpunk merch just is gone. As soon as Edge Runners came out, people were buying that stuff in strides, and I can't blame them. It's a cool universe. You know what? Let's get into all the topics because again, we have like 11 minimum, and we'll get the bad ones out of the way because these are some game cancellations, which doesn't surprise anyone. So, Star Wars Outlaws 2 is effectively cancelled. Honestly, I'm a bit disappointed. Uh, I think the game, it didn't get its fair share in the media. It kind of, like, don't get me wrong, it had a few problems, but then again, all games do. But like, I had a lot of fun with that game. I think the space combat is simple but fun. I think Sabak is really addictive in that game. And like, if you're a Star Wars fan and you like things like open world action adventure games, I highly recommend it. Ubisoft, they have this tendency to just kind of bail on some games. Like, I gave them hell for like a year for not even promoting Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now, thankfully, that game's going to get its second leg of life with its third person mode coming this December. By the way, I predicted that would happen on this show. like they would use this film and maybe do the third person thing to basically give it a second launch. Um, it's a shame about Star Wars because like I really enjoyed it. Logan, what do you think? Because we seem to get less and less AAA Star Wars games than ever before, even though any company on earth can make them. And Ubisoft looks like they may be done with them.
Yeah, it's a bummer because I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I've always loved it. Like, the EU used to be one of my favorite things ever, like all the legends and the games and the novels and all that. And, it felt like, I know we always talk about the seventh gen, but seventh and sixth gen
Yeah,
were like golden age of Star Wars games because you had the Old Republics, you had Republic Commando, you had on PC you had Empire at War, you've got Battlefront 1 and 2, the originals, you got Force Unleashed games, the Lego games, just all this awesome content. And then now whenever EA got the rights, it was like more canceled games than actual released games, and it was a bummer, and I'm glad the rights can go to other people again. And yeah, it's a shame that Ubisoft is kind of gun shy on it and doesn't want to give a second one. I would have liked one. I think it's an intriguing world and setting and gameplay. So hopefully someone else takes up the mantle on that kind of idea. But yeah, like AAA Star Wars game should be something that a lot of companies would want to do and could do. Like they've done it before, they can do it again. It's just I think some of the recent shows or films or receptions to some things, right or wrong, made people a little gun shy about it. So, like, I don't often agree with Ubisoft leadership on anything, but a quote he had the other day about he thought that some of the reception to some of the shows and stuff affected this game's release, and I actually kind of agree with him on that. But in general, I want more Star Wars, and it's a bummer.
Yeah, I was thinking back to the sixth generation. If you had a PlayStation 2, an Xbox, and a GameCube, and a PC back then, right, you were getting on average maybe 20 Star Wars games a year. There was,
It was incredible.
yeah, there's so many coming out, and now like it's just dire. I was talking about this earlier today on Boom Show that like the superhero sale on Xbox that we had a couple of weeks ago was
It was a
laughable.
joke.
It was a joke because you opened up the Xbox store, DC sale because of the whole Superman movie coming out, and there was Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Gotham Knights, and the Arkham Collection, and Lego Batman 3. Right, that was it, and like we kind of like that with Star Wars games. It is a shame we don't get many now. As far as I know, we are getting at least one Star Wars game next year, and that's it's that Clone Wars era game. I can't remember what it's called. It's basically XCOM.
Oh,
Um,
isn't it from Respawn?
yes, that's the one. That's coming out next year, so we have at least one to look forward to. And I guarantee you, a lot of people will side eye that game because it's turn-based combat. Like I can see that coming
Hey,
from.
Expedition 33.
Yeah, the thing is, right? I know I mentioned this a lot. I think people should really open up their minds to play different types of games because thankfully Expedition 33 introduced a lot of people to turn-based combat done really well. It's got action-based moments in there as well, but yeah, it's just it's sad, man. If I was Ubisoft, like I would really consider maybe doing Star Wars Outlaws 2 but under a different name. You know, just to
Mhm.
have similar because the gameplay loop of Star Wars Outlaws is really good. The story is really interesting. Just like don't call it Outlaws. They could call it Star Wars Rogues or basically anything to do with smugglers. Uh, and
Scoundrels.
yeah, Star Wars Scoundrels. Why not? And my dream, and I would love this to happen. And if Ubisoft's listening, please do this. We've heard Troy Baker do Harrison Ford's voice, right? Why not get him to do a Star Wars game? Like a Han Solo game, obviously set it in between Han Solo solo story and A New Hope. Boom, money, right? Like it's so simple, right? They could do it, right? Just do Star Wars Outlaws, but with Han Solo. Right? People would buy that. Han Solo fans would buy that. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't do it, but again, it's Ubisoft, so we'll see. And keeping on with the game delays and cancellations, this one won't surprise anyone. Bioshock Remake allegedly was happening and then got cancelled. Uh, that was a weird one for me because if you look at BioShock, it still looks good. So like,
Hmm.
why? And I've done this tangent before where I think that very few games from the seventh generation need remakes, right? One of them, which I think did need it, was Oblivion. Oblivion looks terrible, the original.
Oh, the orcs were so gross.
Yeah, like absolutely gross. And then uh, Dragon Age Origins, that game.
I was
Oh,
old when it came out.
yeah, I bear in mind I was a Mass Effect fan going into that game, and I was like, why does this look worse than Mass Effect?
It's a downgrade big
Yeah,
time.
it
Yeah.
was a downgrade. It looked like an OG Xbox game, and like that's one of the few games. But like BioShock, like if you play that on PC, you've got all like the liquid simulation and stuff. Like, why not just properly remaster it? Because the remaster we have on console right now, it's decent. I think it's 1080p 60. I don't know if they did the 4K thing, but that game deserves some love. And the next piece of BioShock news is that this one doesn't surprise me. Is that BioShock 4 has been delayed internally again. Uh, that game has been in development for like 6 years.
A decade, I thought I read.
It might be. It might be. I mean, Ken Levine isn't involved with this game. Uh, if he was, that would have like explained it a little because Ken Levine's games take forever to come out. Um, that's why we haven't ever heard about Judas in a while. But yeah, Bioshock 4 delayed internally. That doesn't surprise us, but man, it just keeps bringing me back to this post I made a couple of weeks ago. We just don't get sequels anymore. Like, within the same generation. Hell, we haven't had a Bioshock game since 2013. And I think that came out in April. I think it was April. And, like, you fast forward, it's 2025. There's no Bioshock in sight. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't have a release window for this generation. So what the hell's going on? Like, to me, it's annoying because I loved Bioshock when that came out in 2007. That blew people's mind holes, right? Like we haven't seen anything like Bioshock before on console. And then Bioshock 2, people had their stuff to say on that, but Bioshock Infinite was like incredible on a technical level. The fact they did that on a 360 and a PS3, no idea how they did that. But yeah, Logan, what's your thoughts? Because I know you like Bioshock as well, but the news isn't really surprising.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like 2K kind of has a few juggernaut franchises right now that they just pump out every year and milk money off of it. And then obviously the GTA enhancements that come out every few years, and then shark cards and stuff. Like they've got their casino going. But like as far as like other projects, they've kind of been real hit or miss. So I'm not surprised they're kind of struggling to get a BioShock off the ground. And it's a bummer. Like I would have played a remake of the first one, even though I agree and don't think it's needed. The remastered collection is good. It comes with all three games. It's always on sale for like $10.
Yeah.
It's a great deal for three games and all the DLCs. Like some really good games from the 360 era. If you ever see it on sale, consider it. And yeah, it's a bummer. Like I want to return to the Bioshock world, but at the same time, like it's one that they need to get right because if they do some half-hearted attempt at Bioshock as a Bioshock 4, it they would not fare well on the interwebs reactions.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Although I don't know where you go with Bioshock.
Space
Space would be cool. Maybe
underground. I'm trying to think where they haven't gone.
a desert, maybe. I think a desert might be boring though. um, you know, although I think one of Jupiter's moons would be cool. Um,
Hmm.
we're just spitballing here. It could be anything, but yeah, it's a shame about Bioshock. I think hopefully by the end of the generation we bloody see something. But yeah, we'll see. let's see what we've got next. Oh my god, we've still got like 10 topics left. Oh, you want to talk about this, Logan? I think a lot of people will like this. Wolfenstein is getting a TV show at Amazon. Um, Now my pick for BJ Blazkowicz for like the past several years has been uh what's his name again? Alan Richardson.
I
From
can't remember his name, but I saw the photo you posted. Dude has a neck the size of a mahogany tree. Like, yeah, he's perfect.
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna type his name quick because it's really annoying me. Reacher cast. Okay, where's his bloody name? Oh, here he is. Okay, Alan Richardson. Alan
Yeah.
Richardson. Fucking hell. I'm swearing. Apologize. I'm so annoyed. But yeah, he's my fan cast for the role. I think he looks the part. I mean, like you said, he has a neck the size of a tree trunk. Um, I mean, I think like if you're gonna do a Wolfenstein TV show, like Amazon has proven they can make really good TV shows. They clearly don't mind doing gore. Um, that could be really cool. You know, I'm just guessing it's going to be based on the recent games rather than the older ones, because the older ones can be a bit like over the top weird with the science experiments and stuff, and like the supernatural elements. But yeah, I love it. I love the idea it's happening, and I think it's cool that we're seeing so many video game adaptations because we used to have so many bad ones, like some really bad ones, right? We had Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which I will never forgive. Some of the worst lines in video game movie history. We had Street Fighter, which I'm gonna admit is a guilty pleasure film. It's terrible, but it's a fun film. You know, you have Kylie Minogue running around as Cammy, and you have Jean-Claude Van Damme playing an American Marine with that accent, and it's like, I don't think he's an American soldier. I just don't. There's something about him. And he was like not there half the time on set, if you can catch my drift. And you know, we've had some like, you know, decent ones, such as, you know, the Mario movie from a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed that.
I love the original one, even though it's awful.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
funny.
it's awful, but there is some like weird like fun factor to it. It's still a fun family film, you know. Um, and you know the Minecraft movie. Not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. Pretty decent. It's clearly aimed at a younger audience. Like, it's clearly,
Chicken jockey, yeah.
yeah, chicken jockey. Like, and but like I like the fact that these companies are actually trying now, because video games just used to be this joke where they could just try and parody these video games and, you know, maybe get some of the audience. But now that video games make more money than, you know, music, movies, and you know, TV shows combined, you know, it's actually a respected art form. Bloody finally. But yeah, Logan, what do you think? I think, you know, as a TV show, it could really work.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's got the same production crew and you know, other behind the scenes stuff from the Fallout show, and obviously the Fallout show has been a gargantuan success. Already gotten green lit for like two more seasons at least, and it's clearly like turbocharged interest in the franchise. We've talked multiple times about what it did for the sales numbers and engagement numbers of older Fallout's, like dating back to Vegas and Fallout 3
Yeah.
to the newer ones. It's a huge thing, and so I'm glad Wolfenstein is getting this treatment. And personally, I hope that it really sparks more interest and more puts more juice into the idea of finishing that New Colossus, New Order trilogy. Because I really want that Wolfenstein 3. And or if they want to just end it at that but start a new Wolfenstein kind of era, then cool. But I want more Wolfenstein. Even if they remastered like '09 or Return to Castle Wolfenstein,
Yeah.
like we're talking QuakeCon in a bit, but those would even be fun, like as a little nod to older fans and the series as well.
Yeah. You really want Wolfenstein '09 to come back, don't you?
Yes, it's so cool. It like has some amazing gunplay, and some of the weapons in that game are an absolute trip. It and Singularity kind of go hand in hand together. Like they feel like, you know, sister
Oh
games.
yeah.
Like they're perfect complements to each other. It was during that age of let's get weird for games, but in a good way, the 360 unhinged era. And I love it, and it's just always bugged me that for if Microsoft's listening, it has always bothered me that one, Wolfenstein '09, Quake 4, Quake Wars 1 and 2, maybe. I can't remember if there's two of those or not. And then, Quake 4, like, you have all the rights now. You own all the studios and all the publishers. Like, surely these can be on an Xbox again. Like, I don't care if it's backwards compatibility, which would be nice, or a remaster, a straight port. Just come on. Like, when you do a post and you say, "Oh, all these are coming to Game Pass," and then you have to read fine print and it's in PC, and then all the console owners get screwed over about them when there are clearly console ports available. It's annoying, and I think it's time. Night Dive has said that they got something cooking for QuakeCon, so fingers crossed it's one of those.
Yeah, I know like Night Dive Studios did say they want to port more like 360 games to like, modern PCs. Like I think that they'll do like 360 games to console as well. I mean that could be one of them. Um the funny thing is I think when it comes to like, Wolfenstein, like as soon as a TV show comes out, Microsoft will be paying very close attention to like what the charts are like, even if it's like, top played on Game Pass or whatever, because like it's been so long since we had not a Bioshock game, a Wolfenstein game.
Yes, it has.
Like the last time we had a Wolfenstein game that's not including Youngblood or whatever it's called, was when the Xbox One X launched. Like that was a launch title. Um,
I remember that being a big deal, that it was X enhanced.
yeah, and I remember like I think it was like the first 4K 60 game I played, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible! Like what they did on that little console is just impressive. Um, you mentioned the whole like Bethesda thing and like Microsoft owning those games. Like I'm still one of the nerds wanting Mike, and this will never happen ever. But I'm still wanting Microsoft to make Star Trek Legacy backwards compatible.
Yeah,
Like
I've got that one too on 360 on disc. If they ever make it happen, I'll
right,
pop it in.
that's an amazing Star Trek game. And I know one of the reasons I don't talk about Star Trek on social media is because nobody else talks about Star Trek. So it's like
They treat you like a red shirt.
they do. Like you're not allowed to like Star Trek, and like people look at you differently. It's like, oh, he's one of them. He's a Trekkie. I'm not a Trekker. I don't wear the uniform or anything, but I know maybe too much about that franchise. And how Paramount is doing everything they can to run that franchise into the ground. But we're talking about video games. Look, I can't wait for a Wolfenstein TV show. Like I saw in chat, 8 years? Yeah, 8 years, Nick. Like, that's too long. Way too long. And I know I've said I can't wait to get more Indiana Jones games, and I can't. I want more. I want way more. But if they can just make 2 games at a time, that would be brilliant. Um,
Did they expand within the last few years? I could have sworn Machine Games has a bigger staff than they used to.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I am coping a little bit at the minute. I do think maybe they do have multiple games in development. I have heard they are working on multiple games, but until I see it, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Anyway, we'll move on. Let's see what we've got. Oh, I don't know why I had this topic in the wrong order, but yeah, EA is apparently working on multiple new Star Wars games. Now, going back to what we were talking about 10 minutes ago, this has me bloody hyped because EA was at one point the custodians of the gaming franchise, or say gaming when it comes to Star Wars. and now it looks like they're going to be one of the only big publishers that are willing to make them. So like outside of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 3 and next year's Clone Wars game, which I cannot wait for, they're going to be making more, which is good, which is really good, because a while back EA was contemplating leaving licenses aside. This is good news. Now, do we know what it is? Hell no. But it does open the door for something like a Mandalorian game or something. Funny thing is, EA did actually cancel a Mandalorian game like a year and a half ago, which I could cry myself to sleep at night about. But hey, it's some good news because we get next to no Star Wars games, and EA do make good ones. We can't lie, right? They do make good Star Wars games. So hey, Logan, what do you think? Because we don't get AAA Star Wars games that often now, and at least EA seems to be trying.
Yeah, I'm glad they're at least trying. Like, I want Star Wars games, so I'm gonna root for all these studios to have success, even though, EA is not my top choice to handle Star Wars stuff, but when they have put out games, they've been good. Like Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order are incredible. Like, I mean, that is Respawn, but still it is EA. And, Battlefront 2, once they fixed everything and took it from being the monstrosity it was at launch, it was awesome. Like, tons of support, lots of love, like, really, really good experience. So, I'm excited to see what they do. I have this hope. It might be pure hopium at this point, but that we get a Republic Commando 2 or an Imperial Commando.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they have the studios with DICE and Respawn. I know they're technically already working on Jedi Survivor, 3 and the Clone Wars game that's going to be XCOM like. But man, could you imagine us finally getting a conclusion to that storyline or like a reimagining or something? Like to this day, the squad AI in that game is
Oh,
the
brilliant.
best I have ever experienced. And that was in early 2000s, like '05 or earlier, like ancient, and it still holds up. And just I would love another game in that universe. Or if, there's the new Darth Maul, show coming out,
Oh yeah.
what better time to give us a Darth Maul project? There was one that was in development at one point for quite a while. There was the infamous 1313 that we both cried ourselves to sleep over. There's
Oh yeah.
that one. There's all kinds of projects they could work on.
You know what's sad, right? Every so often, I actually load up YouTube and watch that gameplay.
Man, is that like your breakup game? It's
Yeah,
like you just go sit in the rain and you watch Star Wars 1313.
yeah. Like I
I feel
watch that and think like this is what we could have had. And we'll never have that. But I mean, think that's sitting on a server somewhere, right? I'd
it's a
take
crime.
I'd take it unfinished, right? Just release it. I'd pay for it. I'd be a Star Wars shill and pay for it. Why not? Um, but yeah, hey, I mean, look, if we're gonna get Star Wars games over the next few years, they're either gonna be from EA or Night Dive Studios doing remasters. To be honest, that's a pretty good scenario.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, they've bloody proven themselves with how they did Dark Forces, where they essentially remade everything. They turned 2D sprites into full-on 3D models. My dream for them, when it comes to Star Wars, is they have to remaster, and it won't be a remake, but they have to remaster Shadows of the Empire.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect for them. Like 100%.
Like, because back then you had that wonky third-person aiming, where developers still didn't know how to aim in third person. But like they could do something, that they masters at remastering those old games. Why not? Or like Star Wars Rogue Squadron. I I
That'd be
love
perfect as
I love
well.
Star Wars Rogue Squadron. One of my favorite N64 games to this day. Like the GameCube game still looks good. Still,
That
somehow.
tunnel run is mind blowing.
Yeah, it's probably the best one to date in any game. Um, yeah, but hey, EA making more games. Bonus for me. Let's see what we've got. Okay, now this is where Logan falls asleep. Battlefield 6. So
Okay.
yeah, but we have to talk about it quickly because it is big news. Battlefield 6. The beta starts. I think open beta starts next week. And if you signed up via getting a code from EA, I believe you can still actually get a code from EA if you watch an hour of gameplay when the closed beta starts. So that starts on the 7th of this month. Thankfully, I got my code working. Everything eventually works. Cannot wait to play. And look, I'll say this is a single player gamer. I'm excited for Battlefield. I cannot wait because as a Battlefield fan, I feel like the franchise fell off a cliff years ago. Like it really did. Like people talk about other franchises falling off a cliff. It's like no, Battlefield fell off a cliff. You know, Battlefield had one chance in history to overtake Call of Duty. And that was when Battlefield 3 picked up heat. People were like, oh my god, this is amazing. Then Battlefield 4 came out alongside the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and they absolutely crapped the bed because the game was broken, the netcode didn't work, you couldn't actually exit matches in between matches. So the only way you could leave a lobby was actually to get into a match and then exit, which would count as a loss. And that was annoying. The campaign would not save for a year. So if you wanted to play the campaign, you had to play through in one sitting. It was infuriating. And Battlefield lost their one chance to overtake COD. And then ever since, Battlefield Hardline, nobody wanted it, nobody needed it. Battlefield 1, great gameplay. Gorgeous game. But about a month after release, the entire game became filled with snipers. Which was a shame because that game was ahead of its time. Battlefield 5, gorgeous game. Nobody played it like 6 months after launch, and the developers essentially abandoned the game. And then Battlefield 2042, vehicles didn't have collision. There wasn't a bloody scoreboard in a multiplayer game. Yeah, that's right. Putting 120 players into these large maps. Bear in mind, 120 players, that's a lot of people. You barely found players in that game because the maps were so barren and so big. So, like, for me, Battlefield hasn't been good for a decade. Over a decade, really. And then I see this trailer last week, and I had that same feeling I had back in 2013 when I saw that Battlefield 4 trailer. But I had to take a step back because I had that feeling again with Battlefield 2042's trailer. That thing was a bunch of lies and deceit. It was a fancy CGI trailer to get us all hyped for Battlefield nostalgia, right? And I see the gameplay trailer the other day. It looks incredible. I watch a bunch of gameplay. It looks incredible. So, like, I'm going to experience this. Thankfully, the game will launch with a single-player campaign. Thankfully. But as a Battlefield fan, it looks good. I think the developers actually have something. They actually have dedicated teams for each mode. So campaign is being developed by Motive Studios and Criterion. And the multiplayer is being worked on by a bunch of different studios. I can't remember the names. But either way, each mode is getting the love it deserves, which is great to see. Because that franchise being run into the ground, right? Now, I will say this, and I don't like this. I'm seeing this already, this war between Call of Duty and Battlefield. You know, people saying which one's going to be better. I'm going to play both, right? I love single-player campaigns, but when it comes to multiplayer, I don't really play it much. I'm going to play Warzone with my friend on Call of Duty, and I might play the occasional match of this. But I want both to succeed because, look, Call of Duty, it's doing semi-futuristic stuff this year with the Black Ops 2 style setting, which people will like. Black Ops is always a big game. Battlefield has a lot of making up to do because they've literally had a terrible run for a decade. So, like, they have a good chance to appeal to, the military setting fans. They have a lot of fans that have, like me, that got burnt out. And let's be honest, right? They need to have a absolute perfect launch. They need to have like perfect netcode. Listen to the fans. Don't have any silly skins in the game. Although I do think eventually they will. Because you can only sell so many different kinds of camo patterns to people. Like, these games live and die off the amount of money they make off microtransactions. I think within 6 months you're going to see N7 armor in the game, which I'll buy. And, Dead Space skins. But honestly, the destruction in the game, it looks great. I think the game has the potential to be huge. It really does. The way they're doing crossplay is good as well. So if you want to play just against console players, you can do that, which is cool. You can in Call of Duty, but I don't 100% believe it, because there's players I've gone up against. I'm 99% sure they're using a keyboard and mouse. And also aiming at people through walls. The amount of cheaters in Call of Duty is ridiculous. Battlefield apparently is going to have kernel level cheat protection. So hey, I think the game looks great. Logan, I know you have no interest in this whatsoever, but what do you think? Because it will have a single player campaign. And what do you think of the overall look of the game?
Well, I'm honestly rooting for it. Like, I'm not a big Battlefield guy. Like, I enjoy the campaigns, have dabbled in the multiplayer a little bit. But, you know, Jazz had an article the other day that I kind of really related to, talking about how a lot of people were pulling for Battlefield because of what modern Call of Duty multiplayer has become. It has basically become like a carnival. Like, there's all this stuff going on that doesn't make any sense. You've got Nicki Minaj fighting Homelander
Yeah.
on some skyscraper with Godzilla in the background, and you've got, people like flying like spider monkeys on Mountain Dew, and like omnidirectional, and like all this crazy stuff. It's like, I know games adapt and change, but my goodness, it's like it doesn't even resemble the Call of Duty I grew up with. Um, but which is fine. I mean, it's a different audience maybe, but it just, I really want, above all else, Battlefield to do well, so that Call of Duty goes, "Oh, we actually have competition. We have to try." This is why people this is a big reason why people don't want monopolies on things. One, it's just, it's boring when only one company rules everything. But two, it's competition is good. It drives innovation. It drives creativity. It makes things more consumer friendly, more player friendly. When If Xbox didn't get their butt handed to them at the Xbox One generation, they wouldn't have innovated in the way they did for, backwards compatibility, play anywhere, Game Pass, all this, pro consumer stuff. I know they've done some things lately that have irritated folks, me too, but they've done a ton of good stuff, and a lot of that was because, frankly, they had to prove it. They had to shut up and prove it, and they did. So, a lot of people, myself included, hope Battlefield goes absolute gangbusters and does fantastic. Simply put, to put pressure on Call of Duty to up the ante and to go forward and be good, not just we can rest on our laurels because we're Call of Duty and we got forget you levels of money and ritual success every year. We've got you by the neck. You're gonna buy it because it's the only shop in town.
Yeah, I mean, look, we saw with X Defiant when they tried. That like Call of Duty in general just needs competition. I don't think people that play Call of Duty, they're never going to step away. But like, for people that want something different, like, that's why I originally, excuse me, that's why I moved to Battlefield back in 2011. Yeah, 2011. Because like, none of us liked what was it, Modern Warfare 3. Like, for some reason, Modern Warfare 3 did not vibe with any of us. right? Just for some reason. And Battlefield 3 like blew my mind. Amazing visuals, amazing gameplay, realistic bullet drop. I'm doing realistic in air quotes. Um, and just a very hardcore military realistic setting. But with Call of Duty, you're right. Like, I love playing Warzone. Like, if people have been burned out with multiplayer or don't even like it, I think Warzone can be really enjoyable. But it is a bit weird because, yeah, you can see Rick Grimes and, Nicki Minaj, Homelander, right? It is kind of outside of the universe. And honestly, if you look at it, it's kind they have to compete with Fortnite, right? It just came out recently that what was it, Master Chief and Spartan Armor is coming to Fortnite, and it also came
Yep,
today.
a Halo crossover.
Yeah, Halo crossover, and there's also a Power Rangers crossover, which has made me want to download the game. I don't play Fortnite, right? I have no interest in playing Fortnite, and I want to see that Power Rangers stuff. Um, they did actually a really cool trailer for that today. I'm not gonna lie. But like they are competing with that because you could play as anyone in Fortnite, anyone. Disney characters, Star Wars characters. I think there might be Star Trek characters. Actually, there's probably not Star Trek characters in there, but anything, you know. But in Call of Duty, like there's Terminator skins. There was skins from the ballerina recently, which cost. By the way, those skins cost £30. £30. You can get a game
Oof.
for that. Right? Like, what the hell? But yeah, I know why Call of Duty does it, but like with Battlefield, like people just want a realistic setting, and also destruction. Destruction is the biggest part of Battlefield, and we haven't really had it in. I want to say since Battlefield 4. Some games have had little bits of destruction, but yeah, I'm wishing them the best. And look, if this does well, and I think it will, and if the netcode works, if the netcode actually works, and the campaign's good, it'll actually push, Call of Duty to maybe do destruction in the future. Maybe have, bigger lobbies when it comes to like, big team battle stuff, anything. And honestly, I think Call of Duty may actually be done with the goofy stuff for a while because the reaction to that Beavis and Butthead skin, like, it's funny because like when you're playing Warzone, you can see targets for miles, or they can spot you for miles, right? There's people running around as these neon lit, cell shaded Beavis and Butthead, but you can spot from a mile away. They are the easiest targets in the game, and it is kind of out of it's out of the universe because you could be running around with this Kalashnikov, right, with a silencer on, and Beavis and Butthead just walks past. Right? It's weird. Like just calm down with the goofy skins, but hey, we'll see what happens. And if I can get gameplay for next week, I'll have it on the channel during the podcast. I did actually fire up the launcher early just to see if I could. There was no option for gameplay. That could change. It's happened in betas before, but when the beta is open, they tend to activate that stuff anyway. So hopefully we'll have gameplay next week. Anyway, we'll move on. Hopefully Battlefield 6 turns out to be amazing. Let's see what we've got next. Okay, THQ Nordic had their showcase. There's a bunch of games coming, a lot of which are coming to Xbox. Logan, did you get to check out the show at all?
I didn't watch it live, but I caught some recaps, and yeah, there were some surprises. I was disappointed personally we didn't get the Amuler thing,
Yeah.
but maybe another day. But a Sacred 2 remaster was a nice surprise. Like it's BC, but having a remaster as an option is always good. So happy about that. The Gothic trilogy is all coming over to Xbox. So we finally get the Gothic games, all of them. And then the remake of Gothic is moving along well. And yeah, I was really the Darksiders one was like, whoa, okay, we're finally gonna get to continue the story you showed in Darksiders 1
Yeah.
and trolled us about through the sequels. So
Yeah, the Darksiders thing's funny because we've been they've been hitting it like a follow up to the story of 1 for a decade, and just nothing's happened. And like I think like Darksiders 2 is the best one in the franchise, but my god, let us know what happens at the end of Darksiders 1. Like we have no idea. I did check the description on that because there was some worry that it might be a top down game like Genesis. It's an over the shoulder action adventure game. So that's,
okay, good.
yeah, like I saw a lot of concern in the chat because I had the live chat open when they did the show. But yeah, third person action adventure. That game's apparently been in development for like 5 years. So I'm guessing, and this is hopium once again. I'm guessing that might be a Jeff Keighley Gamescom thing.
It feels like one.
But yeah, I'll quickly run down the list. Like you said, the Gothic trilogy, the originals, are coming to Xbox. They are light remasters, so you're going to have your widescreen, your achievements, 4K, 60 FPS, which is cool. I've never actually gotten to play any of the original Gothic games, and even though I think that remake looks amazing. I might actually pick up these original games. I really like old games, It's like, it's gaming history. So yeah, that's coming out in early 2026. Like you said, the Sacred 2 remaster, they've completely went over this game with 4K textures across the board. It's going to be 60 FPS. You can play it right now on Xbox via backwards compatibility. That game doesn't have any upgrades outside of HDR, I think. Let's see what else is coming. Oh, Wreckfest 2 is also coming to Xbox. It's in PC early access at the minute. Game looks phenomenal. If you played the first game, you know what you're getting into. You're getting a lot of destruction, a lot of cars, really cool stuff. Tides of Tomorrow is this sort of first-person adventure game in this colourful landscape. Let's see what's next. Oh, Recreation, which is basically taking the physics models of Wreckfest and making I want to say a car track creation sandbox game. If that makes sense. Looks really cool. The Guild's coming to PC, not console, but I do suspect this will be one of the city builders, which will actually make its way to console. It tends to happen more often than not recently. Reminal, which is by the developers of oh my god, Little Nightmares, right? So the Little Nightmares developers are making a game that is surprisingly like Little Nightmares. But hey, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Next up, Titan Quest 2. It's coming along nicely. I think you can actually play it in early access on PC. That's also coming to Xbox in, I think, 2026. SpongeBob SquarePants, Titans of the Tide, which is coming to Xbox later this year. If you've played the last, 2 SpongeBob games, you're getting a really fun platformer. Not going to lie. Actually really fun. Really cool level design. Obviously, we have the Gothic remake. By the way, I like how THQ Nordic, they'll announce games, sometimes with gameplay, and just say coming soon for multiples of years.
Soon is relative.
Yeah, so like the Gothic remake, when that was announced, I think 5 years ago. It was either 4 or 5 years ago. It said coming soon on the website. And here we are in 2025, coming soon. In this one, I know this one hurt Logan. Fate Keeper. This is a PC first-person fantasy RPG where it's going to be a linear RPG, and it's only listed for PC at the minute. I 1000% think this is going to come to console at some point. It looks amazing. Now, why would me and Logan maybe be salty about this game? It's because Fate Keeper is kind of a term from Kingdoms of Amalur, and everyone thought that's what the game was going to be about. Like, the trademark leaked, I want to say 3 weeks ago. I mean, if you type Fate Keeper into Google, a lot of Reddit posts and articles were talking about Kingdoms of Amalur. I do think Kingdoms of Amalur 2 is happening. Because I did watch the Angry Joe's reaction to the show, And he said there's a game coming by THQ Nordic that he seemed really excited about, and he does like RPGs, and he did like the previous game. So I'm hoping that Kingdoms of Amalur 2 is one of the games. Um, Let me check this list quickly. So as of today, this is when the showcase happened. 28 games were in development at THQ Nordic. 15 remained to be unannounced. So there's a lot of games coming. Really cool stuff. It's gonna be a while. Hell, they even making a hardcore, like gritty third person over the shoulder Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin game. We didn't see that, and that is coming to Xbox. By the way, some people have said it isn't. It is. Honestly, it was a good showcase. If you went in like me, expecting Kings of Amalur 2, that's on me. Yeah. Logan, did you think the show was good overall?
Yeah, it was good. It was some positive news for THQ Nordic, who frankly has been needing it lately. So, all in all, positive stuff, and I'm excited to see what else they got cooking. Like you said, there's 15 projects at least that haven't been announced. Hopefully, one of them is Amalur 2. I'd love another Red Faction game. They own the rights to Second Sight. That would be cool to see come back. A very underrated niche original Xbox game, but still fun. And you know, there's still the ultimate pie in the sky hopium that Time Splitters is somehow resurrected, even after they canceled it. But that's hopium.
Yeah, but hey, good games all around. And if people are interested, you can actually play Titan Quest on Xbox, the first one. They actually came out with an expansion for that. I want to say in 2022 or 2023. And
There's a couple of them.
yeah, it isn't Titan Quest originally isn't that like a 20-year-old game?
Yeah, I remember getting it on on a Dell Inspiron laptop at
Wow.
one point, like early 2000s. Like, yeah, it's it's pretty old, but they resurrected it and then finally added some big expansions. So it's the best experience for it.
Yeah, so if people want to check that out, and I think it's on sale at the minute because THQ Nordic, they're having a massive sale. Some really cool stuff in there. And I think you can actually get Darksiders 2 for like £6. And that is the only Darksiders game that is next gen upgraded for some reason. Although that just tells me that they know that the second one's the best one. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but who cares? Now,
Yeah, I remember hearing something like if you go back and look at it, the 360 version of Darksiders actually like runs better in
yeah,
some capacities than the one version.
yeah. So like, Darksiders Remastered is I think that's native 4K. It's 30 FPS, but if you play the 360 version, it's 4K 60, and it performs better and it looks better. So yeah, uh, I played through the 360 version a while back. It looks good. It looks really good. But yeah, that sale's going on now if people want to check it out. Now, we have some really good news, and I was itching to talk about this last week, but thankfully we could talk about it today. Game prices. Game prices is something I'm not gonna lie, I've whined about for years, and I will continue to whine about because some games cost way too much, and I feel that developers, not even developers, the publishers, they want to squeeze every single penny out of us, right? And Microsoft, they want to charge $80 for the Outer Worlds 2. Thankfully, they've rolled that back. It's going to be $70, and I believe in the UK it's going to cost $59.99, which to me no game should cost more than that. So I have seen some back and forths online saying we shouldn't praise this. In my opinion, I will take good news as good news, right? No shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like, should this game have been 80 to begin with? No, but the fact that they've gone down is a good. It's a good thing, right? So to me, I hope this pushes the industry into thinking, maybe we shouldn't do the $80 thing, because I was going through the store in the UK of upcoming games, and thankfully, some publishers are doing variable pricing, which I love to see. So some games are costing $39.99, $49.99, $45.99. It's kind of all over the place, but like that is way better than all of these games just being, hey, £70, right? No game should cost £70 or 80 bloody pounds. And I'm looking at you, Bandai. Nothing should be 80, and in dollars, nothing should be 80 either. This is a good step. I will take it as good news. Logan, what do you think? Because we talk about price a lot, and the Outer Worlds 2 shouldn't have been 80 anyway, but it's 70 now, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it as good news. The expression don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, this is great. It's a gift horse. I mean, they dropped the price. So I'm happy. Like, I don't really feel the need to dive into reasons like for like the pre-orders, this or that conjecture. Point being, they dropped the price, so I'm very happy. It shows that voicing concerns is important as long as you're respectful about it. People listen in power, and yeah, so they should never have put that game out there for 80. That was a miscalculation. Let's put it that way. Like Nintendo putting their games at 80 got a lot of resistance and a lot of people mad about it. But, Nintendo kind of has a different wavelength and a different system of doing things. But to try to be the first of the others to do that, and especially for a sequel to a game that did really well, but like, this isn't a, you know, mega, franchise that's established heavily with multiple entries to where everybody knows what it is. Like a Halo at, an 80, or a Call of Duty at an 80, or a Grand Theft Auto at an 80, or something like that. Like, this is the second one, and they're going to take a big step forward, but still, it felt kind of like they threw Obsidian out and kind of did them a little dirty, to be honest, when they put them out there for $80. But I'm glad they've righted that, and they're like, you know what? You were right. This was not a good idea. And they changed it to 70. And yeah, and they said their holiday games this year are going to be 70 or less. So that means it's not just this one. The other games that will release this year will be 70. And hopefully we can keep that trend going, because, like you, I really do not like the division of the world with 80 to $100 games being the norm. That means I'm going to be waiting even longer for sales, or even longer to buy stuff. It does boost Game Pass in one regard, but on the other hand, it also turns a lot of people off to the industry. So, all in all, good news, but it shouldn't have been necessary.
Yeah. I mean, another game that's 70 is Borderlands. Uh, like,
Yep.
like you remember the controversy about that? Like when Randy Pitchford was asked about it. Like he didn't
Yeah,
so
that magic trick didn't land.
yeah, like that landed so badly, but in the end, it's 70. I bet that game was originally going to be 80, but that feedback, oof, like you can't get PR that bad that quick. Um, but hey, if people keep just doing this, developers will listen. And like, look, I've just looked up, right? There's this RPG which I'm going to fanboy the hell out of called The Expanse of Cyrus Reborn. Uh,
Amen.
and do you know how much that costs in the US on their website? $49.99.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have this AAA Expanse RPG, third person shooter RPG, and it's $49.99. So like, I think developers are finally getting the message. Like, look, you may be a AAA game. I get that. You're proud of your game. But you can't all price your game that much, right? Like, you're going to sell way more copies if it's cheaper. That's just a simple fact, right? You know, hell, we live in a world where The Crew 2 made more money than FIFA when it was listed at 89 pence. Right? People will buy stuff if it's cheaper. I bought Death Stranding. I technically got it for free, but like it was £17 when that launched on Xbox, right? I was going to get that regardless because of its price. But like people will buy things if they're cheaper. Like, can you imagine, let's say, and this won't happen. We're not this fortunate, but can you imagine, let's say, GTA 6 is $49.99, like in dollars?
It would be insanity.
Yeah, they would crack 50 million copies in a week, right? But obviously that won't happen because it's Take Two. But hey, it's good to see developers are listening. You know, I did see things like what do you call it? Oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue. That horror game that comes out next month, Chronos: The New Dawn, right? I think in the UK that costs $49.99, right? That is a good price. So people just keep voicing your opinions. You know, these developers, these publishers, they will listen, and they're obviously gonna look. We don't know the pre-order situation. I'm not going to try and speculate because, I mean, the Outer Worlds 2, like, honestly, I've never understood the concept of pre-ordering games months out. Like, I've never understood that because they're not going to run out of digital copies. You just buy it the day it's out, right?
Yeah, I did it back in the day, but it was for physical, so I
Yeah,
could make sure I got
yeah.
one.
Like when Red Dead Redemption came out, that physically sold out most places where I live. And you know, Call of Duty games sold out. So like you had to pre-order, but like now, like they're not going to run out of copies. Um, so hey, this is good news, and more good news, and this is aimed at collectors. The Outer Worlds 2 and Ninja Gaiden 4 physical editions will now include a disc. Thank God, because even though I collect way less games physically now, uh, like it's a medium I don't want to die off anytime soon. Like there's, I think getting a physical game with a disc in, there's something so tangible about that, and it's just more exciting. You know, if you get a physical game, and by the way, I still wish games came with booklets. Don't know
Oh,
why.
booklets, maps, lore,
Yeah,
all of it. Gimme.
like it. Those booklets, whenever you do get one now, which is rare, like instantly takes me back to being a kid. Like getting a Game Boy game or a game or anything basically, and reading that booklet in the car on the way home, you get excited, you know. And now people really they don't get to experience that, which is a shame. But Logan, I know you still collect some physical discs. This is good news.
Oh yeah, 100%. I understood why, like for Avowed and some games recently they had done a steelbook with a digital code because most people now do digital. But, if you wanted a steelbook, they kind of tried to do a compromise where they're like, all right, we'll give you a cool steelbook and it'll be a digital code, win win. But a lot of people are like, hey, I buy it physical not only because I want a steelbook, because I want an actual bloody disc. I don't want just a code. So I think it's good that they're doing that. And I frankly wish physical was more mainstream than it is now. It's a shame it's dying in movies and shows and games. Like, I'm all for accessibility and options. And until they find a way to fully convert all physical media to a free digital copy or whatever, to where you can have it both ways or always have it accessible in case something happened to one of them,
Yeah,
then I think physical is necessary because, we talk all the time about next gen consoles and why I feel a disk drive is paramount, even if the majority of modern media is not disk, because you preach having a 4 generation or 5 generation library. Some of those are only playable because of disc for licensing or technical reasons, whatever they may be. So it would be yeah, it's backwards compatible, but asterisk. all of these you can't play anymore, so too bad, so sad. Just make it where at least you can get an external disk drive to add on. Just a simple thing.
Yeah. I just saw in chat, Richard mentioned that new game, Manual Smell.
Oh, it was so good, like new car
Yeah,
smell.
like
So great.
I used to crack open one of those game cases and go in like I was Scarface. Like the
I
smell.
know they that paper had that luxury
Yeah.
smell to it. It was so good.
And it's a shame we don't have that now. The physical media. I've talked about this before, but I'll mention it again. Like the physical game market died 10 years ago in the UK. You know, game. They bought Game Station was a better shop, and then they cannibalized their own business. So basically, everyone. Oh yeah, and they shut down over 50% of the stores. And like my city, we haven't had a game store since 2012, I believe. Um,
Good grief.
and like
360.
yeah, and like basically the only way you can order games or get most physical games now is off Amazon. Like you're not incentivized to even go to games website because they charge way more than they should, and the selection's terrible. And they always do this thing. I don't know if companies do it in the US. They try to bundle crap together. So like you get
Oh, it pisses me off
yeah.
so
So
much.
like,
Yeah.
let's say you want, I don't know, I'll just use this as an example. Like let's say you want Black Ops 7, right? They'll sell you Black Ops 7, but with a T-shirt for an extra £15, right? I hate that. Like that doesn't benefit me as a consumer anyway. You're just trying to peddle off your crap, right? like you should sell your merchandise cheaper to go alongside games, not bundle it together. And they do the same with consoles, by the way, where you can
Yeah,
get a
PS5 bundles were horrible.
yeah, terrible. Where you can get a console plus like 4 games and an extra controller for like X amount of £100. Like, stop it! You're scamming me, right? And no wonder they tanked as a company. But the physical media died. I'm still one of the people. I do get physical movies still. I can noticeably see the difference between a 4K Blu-ray and a 4K stream.
Hmm.
I mean, but like this, I think Disney Plus has the best 4K streaming out of all the services I've tried, and there's a significant difference in watching Avatar in 4K and watching it in 4K via a disc. That I can tell. Um,
It loads more assets
yeah,
locally.
yeah,
It's just better.
it just looks better. But for video games, like you said, they need to keep doing the disc drive, and I think that next gen we will get like disc drives as a separate thing. I think PlayStation doing the separate drive is actually genius, right? I've been wanting companies to do this for ages because you essentially have the only things that are going to break in your console mainly things with moving parts. And in our consoles, we have two things with moving parts. One's the fan, which the fans are always fine, and the disc drive, right? Do you know how many disc drives I've had on different Xboxes? Tons, right? People complain about Red Ring of Death. I never had that. My DVD drive stopped working on my 360. I had to get repaired. My Xbox One Blu-ray drive stopped working. My Xbox One X disc drive stopped working. Had to be repaired. My Xbox Series X, my first one, had to be repaired. So like Blu-ray drives, like they need to sort out and get the quality control sorted. I know people at Xbox has mentioned. I think Peter Moore said before that there may be some like what do you call it, like corporate sabotage or something. I think the company that makes Microsoft Blu-rays is screwing them over because their Blu-ray drives don't last a year before they need replacing. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, let us buy them separately, attach them, and I think that video games will be sold how Baldur's Gate 3 sold physically. So if you want Baldur's Gate 3 physically, you go to their website and it comes, I think it's like $80, but you get like the PC style box with a bunch of collectibles inside. Like Logan, didn't you get that?
I didn't buy that one, but I did buy some editions like that of some other games recently.
Yeah, so I think that's how they're going to do it. A more specialty like box, which, I'd choose that over nothing, but hey, it is what it is. You know what? Let's see what we got next. Okay. We'll keep this one quick. Final Fantasy 16 breaks the MPD at number 4 on the Xbox. Or I should say the Xbox store. This is actually really good because this game had no marketing campaign. It had the shadow drop, the trailer, and that's it. You know, there was no marketing campaign online. And if people thought this was going to like chart number 1, like for the whole month, they're being unrealistic, right? This is going to be a game that has a long tail, right? It's priced reasonably. It's been in multiple sales since. I think that, you know, they have to actually let people know that Final Fantasy 16 is on the console, but the fact that it's at number 4, it's good news. And honestly, I think a lot of people will buy this for the coming months and years to come because it's a great game, right? If you go on the store, it's got great reviews. I think in the UK it's got 300 positive reviews, which is good. But yeah, Logan, what's your thought? Because this was never going to chart number 1, be it a shadow drop with no, you know, marketing campaign. But so far it seems to be doing pretty good.
Yeah, so much for Xbox gamers not, buying JRPGs or games in general. Um, chart number 4 is a phenomenal sign of good health for the brand and the franchise and the genre. So, yeah, all around good stuff. I will say, I doubt Square is listening, but if you are Square, please, like, next time you bring over a game that is later to the party on a platform compared to previous ones, market at a discount for the launch, not a while later. Like, I picked it up on this most recent sale. It was the lowest price it's been on Xbox. And frankly, I think that's the price it should have been to start with. Just like when they did Pixel Remaster, I bought the whole collection day one when it dropped. It was on sale for like a good bit off, and you could just get all the games at once. I did that, and that game charted super high as well.
Yeah.
We talked about Death Stranding. It was a good price, and they dropped it, 50% off for launch. I bought that even though I already had it on PS4, and I'm playing it double dipping and playing it on Xbox and loving it again. So it's really good, and I think that just in general, I think on principle, games that are delayed for reasons on platforms should kind of give something a little bit back to the customer on the other platform, either a sale or some more content or both whenever it does finally come over, so that they don't feel like they just got a raw deal completely.
Yeah. I mean, that, like, Death Stranding, when that came to Xbox, it was 50% off.
Yeah, it was like $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Like, like,
perfect.
like when I saw that for £17, I was like, ooh, okay, now we're talking. And it was, I think it got to number 1 in the store. Like, it made more money than FIFA that week. Right? Do you know how many copies of FIFA are sold in the UK? People go nuts for that
An
game.
unholy amount.
Yeah, and I think FIFA's bloody terrible these days. But I mean, like Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, lovely name by the way. Um, I think they're gonna have a lot of success with that. I mean, I'm assuming they're gonna launch it with the same time as the Switch 2. It's gonna sell great on that platform as well. Like, I think that if they don't do a marketing campaign for 7 Remake, I think they are out of their minds, right? 7 is a household name. Cloud, everyone knows who Cloud is, right? Everyone, you know, like Cloud, Tifa, Aerith. I hate saying that name, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it always confused me as a kid. Always said Eris or
Yeah,
Aerith or yeah.
yeah, like Aerith. Oh my, I sound like Mike Tyson. Um, you know, to me,
Yeah,
to
man.
me, it will always be Aries, always. But those are like household names, you know, and people like hell. We've what this podcast we've been doing for like 3 years now. I think for the whole time we've been talking, oh, should Final Fantasy VII Remake come to Xbox? like,
Ice
yeah,
Cube's chats.
yeah. Originally, nah, it's never happening, never. And now, like, there's like hype around it. Like, if you've seen like the reactions to that announcement from the summer showcase, like the announcement of a port of a 5-year-old JRPG coming to Xbox got the loudest pop. Like, that's how many people want 7. Like, we've talked about this before. People grew up with 7, or 7 may be one of the first JRPGs they played. Like, people have that nostalgia, and like a lot of Xbox fans started on PlayStation, so like it just makes sense. And it's obviously going to do well on the Switch, but yeah, Square Enix just do a little marketing campaign, work with Microsoft, have ads plastered all over the store. Hell, they could do when you go to the store and it says top paid games, top free games, they could literally do the thing across the board where they have a different character for each section, which they've done before for other games. Like, just do that. Go all out. You know what? This is going to be a big topic because it's going to be spicy. Well, it shouldn't even be spicy, but some people have overreacted to it. So PlayStation had this job vacancy recently, up until today, of getting someone to basically help manage games going to other platforms. And they had Steam, Epic Store, Xbox, Nintendo Switch 2, and I think they had GOG listed in there. And, this made everyone go, oh, more games are coming over. People losing the marbles. And, I'm not really surprised by it. Xbox had 6 of the top 10 games in the NPD for PlayStation for June. Like, there's money to be had there, right? Forza Horizon 5, great game, really great game, but what, it's a 4-year-old game, 5-year-old game, and it's making a lot of money. Like, Microsoft, like, that game is probably going to be delisted in the next year, or at least it was originally going to be. Why not make more money off it when you can? PlayStation has games that are sitting on servers that, they've maybe maximized their sales potential on the platform. So yeah, put the games on other platforms. Like, Helldivers came out last year. It's going to make a lot of money because, one, it's a third-person shooter where you shoot aliens and robots. You already have Xbox fans' attention because we've been doing that for 20 plus years. You have Halo fans and Gears fans eyeing up this. Hell, the ODST community, they're drilling over this. They need this, right? You're essentially playing ODSTs anyway, so like, those fans are going to be all over it, and I think it just makes sense, like, PlayStation, they've already experienced success with this. They put Lego Horizon Adventures on the Nintendo Switch 2, and they had some success with that. Although I think as a Lego game, that was a bit of a step backwards, because if you play them, they've kind of evolved over the years, and that one plays like one that came out in the early or mid 2000s. That's just my opinion anyway, but all in all, like, Sony, they're having success with putting games on other platforms. The only downside so far is that they put their games out on other platforms later, and there's no marketing campaign. Like Horizon, Days Gone, all these games, no marketing campaign, but they get released on PC, and people on Twitter complain about the sales, or like the amount of concurrent live players on Steam. It's like, if you don't know that game is on your platform, you're not going to buy it. Most people know about these games via huge marketing campaigns. So, like, that's something Sony can fix. And especially with Helldivers 2 on Xbox, that is a live service game where they want people to be buying into the microtransactions, and I believe it has a battle pass. Like, it's in Sony's best interest to actually market that game as a multi-platform title. So, I think, look, we've seen multi-platform talk for the past year and a bit now. Like, I think people can just finally realize that, these companies, they aren't our best friends. They just want to make money. That same goes for PlayStation as well. I'll say this. I think that one of the first games they will bring over after Helldivers is either going to be Days Gone or Spider-Man. Spider-Man, we don't have any really open world superhero games on Xbox that are set in a living city. You know, every Arkham game just happens to be set in an empty city. Like, oh, we've evacuated Gotham for reasons. It's like every single time. Everyone's in lockdown, so there's no one walking around other than the bad guys for reasons. And like Spider-Man would sell. It really would. I dare say it would sell about 5 million copies on Xbox because we don't have one to play on Xbox. Logan, what's your thought? Because like this whole topic made people lose their marbles online. The videos came out, the podcasts, but within reason, like it looks like Sony's wanting to dip their toes in the multi-platform space.
Yeah, I mean, this is great news for those who don't list war and just want to play the games wherever they can. And I'm excited. I think initially, like Helldivers 2 is obviously the test drone, the test pilot episode to see how it goes. And spoiler alert, I think it's gonna go very, very, very well on Xbox. I would be shocked if it's not in the top 7 on Xbox when it launches. Like, I think it is going to sell crazy, and the numbers are going to be high for engagement, and it scratches the ODST itch. There's so much space for crossovers, and it is getting marketing from its own community. Like,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
community's doing heavy lifting on that thing. Like, we talk about Final Fantasy needing, campaigns and stuff. Like Helldivers 2 campaign, they got you covered, fam. They're looking out for it. So I think it's gonna do great. I'm excited for it. As for future games, my guess is live service and older stuff at first. And again, like with Helldivers, do a test case, kind of see how it goes. We all remember the infamous, business
yeah.
update, where it's only these four guys. It just doesn't mean everything's coming. It's only these four, and we're not going to talk about anything else. And then less than a year later, okay, yeah, everything else is coming. But it I think it will be like you said, Days Gone just seems to be a no-brainer to bring over. Like, it blows my mind. Like, I loved that game. I got it on PS4. I got the collector's edition with the statue, the steelbook, soundtrack, all of it. And I played through it, loved it. Super fun game, cool world, good characters, great cast. Like, I was bummed they didn't make a second one. And the reasons they didn't make one is crazy. It's
Yeah.
because of arbitrary scores. It wasn't just look at you're like, okay, the sales were actually pretty good. And it's a new franchise. Like, usually the first one in a franchise is trying to get its footing. And you're like, okay, we can go back to the drawing board and do this better, or dial down this or amp this, it's a trial balloon. But they were like, well, a bunch of blog boys gave it a 70, so we're gonna just kill the franchise. It's like, oh, come on, really? Really? This studio who's finally doing something besides Siphon Filter, who hasn't done something in a while, and then now you axe it and you make them a Last of Us support studio in the mines or whatever. Like, Ben deserves better than that. Anyway, I think that one makes a lot of sense. Funny note, Push Square sure didn't like it that Xbox wanted fans want a
Yeah.
copy of that game. Did you see
Oh
it?
yeah.
They flocked to it like flies on a corpse, a rotting corpse. I was like, good grief. The fanboy vitriol from this post is like seething through the internet. Um, but yeah, like that one seems a no brainer. Spider Man. Licenses, for those who don't know, are not cheap, especially for a mega gargantuan franchise. Like, I'm not into power ranking characters and stuff like that, but If I were to guess, I'd say Spider-Man is probably one of the single most popular like comic characters ever. So I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
So I think there would definitely be a lot of interest in Spider-Man as a character and his games on Xbox. I loved him growing up. I like that original one, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 on the original Xbox and PS2 and GameCube were so fun. And the movie tie-ins with the cheat codes, you could unlock the Goblin and do all kinds of stuff. Like yeah, like Spider-Man has a ton of interest. And then, hey, you've got Resistance, you've got Infamous, you've got Ratchet and Clank, you've got SOCOM, you've got these other, franchises just collecting cobwebs at this point. Why not put a shiny, fresh coat of paint or do a bare bones port even? Have Nixus do it. You have them for a reason for porting. Why not just do this? It shouldn't be that intensive work. And port those across, Xbox, Switch, and PC. And boom, that'll help buoy your numbers and sales while you have to cough up another $400 million for the next God of War or whatever you're doing. So it seems like a no brainer for them to do it. And it's like Microsoft has the unenviable position of being the first to do the right thing and everybody looking at them and screaming at them that they're morons when they do it. But then eventually everyone comes around to it and they start doing it. And then they treat the second one like they're a genius instead of the first one.
So basically, Apple.
Yes, basically, yes.
Before I continue with the topic, if you're enjoying the show, we didn't have one last week. To help with the algorithm, those likes do help with all that behind the scenes stuff. It is greatly appreciated because, having a week off from a podcast does actually significantly hurt the overall reach and, all that stuff. So liking does help, commenting, all that stuff. If you listen to afterwards, let me know what you're looking forward to, all that stuff. Super chats are live if you want to contribute to the channel, all that stuff. But anyway, Sony titles. I just saw this in chat. Bloodborne, right?
Yeah, seriously, where's the
Yeah,
PC port of that? Are they allergic to money?
yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, people have been wanting a PC port of Bloodborne essentially since the game came out. So why not put that on everything? Like they have Nix's software, right? They've put all of their what major first party games for the past 5 years on PC. Like I can't imagine they just sitting there twiddling their thumbs because they're a port studio. They don't do other games, right? They don't make their own games. They're port studios. So you've got to wonder what are they bringing over? And people losing their marbles and stuff. I saw this today. Um, even things like Stellar Blade, right? Like, do these massive third party, you know, uh, what should we call them, money hatted titles? Do these really need to exist now? Because look, the amount of times people have asked me, is Stellar Blade coming to Xbox? And when I tell them no, they're like, is it made by Sony? No. Although originally Stellar Blade was meant to come to Xbox under Project Eve. Um, but I think there's fans waiting for these games, and look, I've said this before. I thought that Sea of Thieves was going to go to other platforms before the multi-platform stuff started, right? Because I think they
Mhm.
maximized their player potential, and if you didn't own an Xbox in let's say 2024 to get Sea of Thieves, you were never going to buy one. And that's it. That same goes towards Spider-Man or any of these other games, right? And like you said, Logan, Days Gone, it sold over 10 million copies, brand new IP, and Sony decided to not make a sequel because of Metacritic scores. Like, if Ubisoft, Microsoft, EA, Nintendo, anyone had that IP, they would be two sequels by now. Because 10 million copies for a new IP is rare these days. But they could make money off, an Xbox version. They could get it to run on the Switch too as well. Like, I think it's a matter of when, not if. There was a time when people thought PlayStation wouldn't put games on PC, and now you see a lot of them are. And it benefits them in the end because, like, look, the next Spider-Man game is probably going to cost $300+ million, right? That is an insane amount of money. Most movies struggle to make that now. you know, you can have a successful film like the Fantastic Four, and it might make that in the US, and it's total run. So like we'll have to see, but I think there's a lot of games Sony can bring over. Like, look, Logan, what's the name of that horror game? Until Dawn.
That one's a no-brainer as well. That one should have happened. Yeah.
Yeah, like a bunch of super massive games are on Xbox that have done pretty well. Like, why not bring that over? And there was a film recently, although I don't know if it was any good or not.
It was okay. It was not. It was a popcorn flick. It was not something to write home about, though.
Yeah. But you know what? Sony they'll have success with this because again, Sony's games they get a lot of praise. Now, do I think that you're gonna get Spider-Man 3 day one? No, I think that stuff that's not gonna happen. But like other games, why not? Hell, Uncharted collection, Killzone collection, Resistance collection. I mean, I would buy a Killzone collection in a heartbeat. I loved Killzone too. But yeah, we will wait and see. Uh, I will say this though. I think we will see one more Sony game on Xbox this year. Like by the end of the year,
Ooh.
we will see one more. Uh,
Marathon or something different?
no, something different. I don't think Marathon's making this year. Like what happened with that game and like the art being stolen and the the reception of the game, not having things like proximity chat in an extraction game. And look, if they release this year, by the way, they going up against Arc Raiders, right? Arc Raiders had zero negative feedback from its last tech test. Zero, right? People loved the performance, they loved the gameplay, they liked the gameplay loop. Marathon, people are okay with the visuals, they didn't like the gameplay loop, and they didn't like that half of the features were missing that most extraction games have. So I think honestly, I think Marathon might be cancelled. Like everything that's happening with Bungie behind the scenes, like if I was Sony, I would get them on Destiny 3 ASAP as soon as possible. Right? Full-fledged new game, get expansions planned because I think that there's 2 extraction games coming to Xbox in the next 2 months or 3 months, and that is Delta Force and Arc Raiders. I can't see Marathon competing if it releases this year. They have to revamp half that game. So like, I'd be shocked if that happens. But yeah, I'm 100% sure we will see one more Sony title this year, in the form of Days Gone or Spider-Man. By the way, there's people you see on social media, they've done nothing this past week than scramble to try and figure out what that job listing means. Like, do you know that if there's a job vacancy and this role pays anywhere between $300,000 and $400,000 a year, they're not getting paid for nothing, right? That's a serious role.
Yeah, it's not an internship.
Right, and if they really gonna pay someone $300,000 to $400,000 a year just to sit and maybe think about games coming over, I will have that job. I'll just take it. I'll take the money. But seriously though, like they wouldn't be having that job out there in general if it wasn't going to be a thing. But yeah.
Speaking of which, oh, sorry, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was interesting that some of the usual suspects on this, when it that were always so giddy to, leak Xbox games coming to PlayStation or all this stuff, like somehow they knew and then they got it out there and, caused all kinds of drama and stuff. When it comes to PlayStation, though, coming to Xbox, it's like, well, I'm going to backtrack on this, or I'm going to recalibrate and say, well, it's only going to be this, or, oh, well, we'll see, or, well, we don't know for sure, or, oh, it's just such the same old song and dance, and it's just really interesting how they always get the mask off, and
Oh yeah.
it's just always funny every time. And it was kind of glorious seeing that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I want to talk about it. I won't mention names, but like you said, if there's me a rumor of an Xbox game going elsewhere, we have people coming out with multiple posts, multiple threads saying, look, they're going to look for inside sources, they're going to check source code on websites, all this stuff, right? If PlayStation has a rumor of a game coming to Xbox, no effort. Nobody puts that effort in. Nobody tries to dig into, website source code. Do you know there was a thread on Reset Era? And bear in mind, I stopped going there years ago because that is a cesspit of despair if you're a gamer. But I went there not long ago when this rumor popped up, and I'm not even kidding. Within 3 hours, they closed the thread. They locked it because the speculation was getting out of hand. And all of the comments were like either the end is nigh or I hope, Days Gone comes to Xbox, that type of thing, right? They closed the thread, yet there's threads, like literally crap on Xbox posts, right? Of having hundreds, if not thousands of replies. It's because people still look at PlayStation as this, little protective darling. And there's a subset of their fan base. This isn't the fans' problem either. This is people, just like people that report stuff. They feel the need to coddle their fan base, right? Don't worry, your games aren't going to go elsewhere. There's nothing to worry about. Like I've even seen people.
Very obvious.
Yeah, I've seen people, and I won't mention names. If there's an Xbox rumor, they'll have in their title saying these games coming to Xbox, and they'll have like a Gears of War E-Day PNG with a PlayStation logo in it. But when that PlayStation rumor popped up, they literally put in brackets rumor. Right? We don't hear rumor any other time. And the gaming industry, it's kind of one sided, right? The way this stuff works, right? This PlayStation job vacancy really like set them on fire, right? It showed a lot of people's true colors, and that's why people do get annoyed because we don't see the same treatment for both fan bases or both communities, and we see this on a daily basis. When Indiana Jones was announced for PlayStation, do you saw your typical like clickbait content with like pulling a weird face in the thumbnail saying Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation, it's now the end of Xbox? They didn't do that for Helldivers. They didn't do that for Helldivers. They didn't do this for upcoming PlayStation games that might come at some point. It's because everything has to be the end of Xbox. Everything. But PlayStation, it's all good, right? We're not going to talk about it. We have to keep the hype, which I always hear. Like, you have to be persistent and consistently in a state of hype just to talk about gaming, right? Which is such an annoying thing. It's like sometimes gaming can be, kind of flat when it comes to news. We try and keep it entertaining anyway, but it is what it is. But I'm glad you mentioned that because I did see that a few times this past week. It's like, where's this effort? Why aren't you putting the effort in to find out if this game is going elsewhere? Like, most of the stuff I find out about gaming has actually relation to Ubisoft, right? Right? Microsoft and Sony, they have very closed books when it comes to people from the outside. But people do not, like, look, we've seen this for years. Remember when there used to be E3 leaks for Microsoft, and then Sony would have their show? Yeah, Sony would have their show. Yeah, Sony would have their show the next day, and people online would be like, you know what? We're not going to spoil it. We're not going to spoil the surprise for people. But yet you listed everything that was going to be on Xbox's E3 showcase, right? It's blatantly obvious. We see it on a daily occurrence at this point. Now, I don't really like to point this out on social media, but I am today. It's annoying. It's blatantly obvious. You know what? We'll talk about this quickly. So, uh, you know, Fallout. There may be multiple Fallout games in the works, or Microsoft planning to get multiple Fallout games. We've talked about this before, but I think it's worth bringing up again because there has been some speculation whether we will actually see Fallout 3 remake later this year. If Microsoft was going to capitalize on anything Fallout related, they have to do it around the time the TV show comes out, right? You can't have Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 trending in number one in the UK and Europe because of a bloody TV show not to do anything when Season 2 launches. You just can't, right? I'm not saying they'll fast track the game, but when it comes to a title like that size, that type of remake, like they can get it done. You know, Oblivion was an older game. Way more of that needed to be redone. But with Fallout, like I think for that it's mainly going to be for visuals and for mainly aiming when it comes to first person and third person gameplay. Logan, what do you think? Because I think that Fallout TV show and the reaction from it actually gave Microsoft the shot in the arm they needed when it comes to hey, let's actually put more focus on Fallout.
Yeah, I think the show turbocharged some things, and I honestly think some of the reshuffling lately with jobs and stuff was to position for more Fallout content as well.
Yeah,
Put some people on a project that they feel more confident in or know that the masses really, really want. And yeah, like it to me, it seems a no-brainer. And to get Fallout 3 out as soon as possible to try to pair it with the season 2, which comes in December. Like, I'm not saying there will be one, but it wouldn't shock me if around a Game Awards time of year, maybe they drop a Fallout 3 remaster remake. Um, it just seems like good timing. Fallout 4 got that next gen patch. I mean, Fallout 76 apparently is getting a next gen thing at some point. At least that's the latest buzz on that. And yeah, like it. I think Obsidian's going to be working on something Fallout at some point. I will say that we had hypothesized in the past, based on history and personnel, that In Exile might be one.
yeah,
But a recent interview that Brian Fargo had with Maddie Plays, which is really good. It's like an hour and a half long, like really in depth, good interview. Check it out. Um, he got asked point blank about Fallout and like handling it, what he would do or not do, and he was very deferential and basically kind of like, Fallout was once mine, but it's not mine anymore, and it's kind of just wasteland and clockwork and other stuff that we would do.
yeah,
And I kind of just think I'll let Todd and Fergus and Sawyer and other guys who still have a closer relationship to it or have been in it, more recently to handle that rather than me. And he said he didn't want to offer any like idea changes or anything because he said he didn't think that'd be fair. But basically, it sounds like we can safely take In Exile off a list of potential Fallout projects for now.
yeah. I mean, I would say it's a shame, but at the same time, I like the idea that In Exile can actually make what they want now.
Hmm.
Because before Microsoft purchased them, like there's a little like mini documentary you can watch on their YouTube channel. Like they struggled to get money for their games, and like certain features were cut from certain games. So like I completely get it. And if you look at Clockwork Revolution, that game to me, I'm so excited about that because it's very,
Crazy.
yeah, it's crazy, it's original, and it's taken elements from games I do like. It's got singularity combat in a In
Hmm.
Exile role playing game. Like crazy. Like the world changes. Like that game for me, it's one of my most anticipated. It looks incredible, but if they want to keep making crazy new RPGs with unlimited budget, do it. Right? Like I like you said, I 100% think that Obsidian will make a Fallout game in the next 5 years. Maybe it's a smaller one. do we really need a big, massive, open world Fallout game every couple of years? Like, we could have spin-offs, we could have more linear games, you could have hub world style games like Avowed and Outer Worlds. Like, they can really do anything. But that TV show last year really made them think, wow, we need to, get Fallout moving again, because we can't go till 2032 for another Fallout game, which is realistically when it would be out. Fallout 5. I'm terrified just thinking about that year. um, but yeah, I mean, at least he's stepping on the gas when it comes to Fallout. I will say this: I do not think that Fallout 3 remake will be shadow dropped. I think they're gonna hype the living hell out of that game, because Oblivion,
Okay.
they didn't have any TV show to go alongside with, and that was the worst kept secret in the industry. Everyone knew that was coming, and it also didn't help that the art leaked like 4 days beforehand. So like, we will see. I think Fallout has a huge chance to come out this year. And by the way, isn't it nice to have a TV show release annually again?
Oh, it's good news.
Like, I think was it 3? Is it 3 years in between seasons of Foundation?
Oh, yeah, it's been horrible. Like, several years for that. Invasion is finally coming back after a multi-year hiatus. Silo's gonna have multiple years. Like, and it's like we used to, I know, to make us sound old men on porch again, but we used to have shows where they came out every year and they had like 20 something episodes. Now we got down to the point where it was 10 episodes, but they were high budget every year. And then now it's you're lucky if you get 10. And oh, yeah, by the way, it's going to be at least 2 years before we see this again. It's awful.
Yeah. Uh, it just makes me think about that Harry Potter TV show. It's like, so if they have,
Oh, man.
yeah, so if they have
5 episodes.
yeah, five episodes a season, and there'll be like 4 years in between each season. Like, Harry Potter will be like in his 30s when the show ends. But my God, just like talking about TVs for a second, like, one of my favorite shows I always talk about is Smallville. Right, we had 10 years in a row of Smallville. If that happened today, it would have took 20 years to release. Like, what the hell? Yeah, Walking Dead we had every year. We had peak Game of Thrones, one episode. What we had, I think it was like 10 to 13 episodes a season every year for 7 years, and then they crapped the bed with those. My God, that last season was just
Oh, yeah, we don't talk about
yeah,
that.
absolutely awful. But Walking Dead every year for like 13 years. Like, what the hell? But yeah, Fallout TV show this December. My prediction, if the Fallout thing is releasing this year, Fallout 3 remake, I think they will do a whole direct for it in October. Right, get a lot
Be
of people.
fun.
Yeah, get a lot of people hyped for it. Maybe even do a collector's edition, because people will be all in on Fallout. It should be really good. Logan, have you got anything else you want to go over before we close out the show?
Um, if they do a physical edition or a collector's edition, please do another Pit Boy. Those things sell out like gangbusters every time they try to do one. And I would still like one. I missed out on it for Fallout 4. Like, do a power helmet or a Pit Boy, and I'd be thrilled.
Yeah, I got the Pip Boy. Um,
Oh,
for
awesome.
Fallout 4, that thing sold out in minutes. Like,
I know it was psycho.
yeah, I was really looking to get one, and they did a Pip Boy, and it was extremely limited, for Fallout 76, and it was like for a kit you put together yourself, uh, which I wanted, but again, that sold out. That thing was like £300, I think. Like, no, um, but yeah, I mean, look, if you're gonna do Fallout, you have to do a collector's edition. You have to do a physical edition, right? I don't want to hear that physical is less popular than ever. No, stop it, right? I want physical Fallout 3 remake, because I love that game. It's like one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. But honestly, I'm really excited that like a new audience is going to experience Fallout 3 because like Oblivion, like there's millions of people never played it. It doesn't help that we had Skyrim for 2 whole generations basically, and people will eat it up. I think Fallout 3 is one of the best games I've made. Its lock picking mechanic is like the gold standard in my opinion. Basically anything better than Oblivion's. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Liam Neeson's your dad. I mean, you start off as a literal baby in the character creator.
yeah, that game's so special, but man. Anyway, I can't wait. It should be an interesting time. But yeah, hope everyone enjoyed the show. We'll be back the same time next week. And I will say this, if you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. I hate doing these little ads, but, it does help the channel grow, and I do want to grow way more because, I've got really cool things planned. Like, things I can't talk about, but really cool things. The link to my previous video, which is the 10 biggest new games coming out in August, there's actually 12 games in that list, and none of them came out yet. So, like, it's going to be... Honestly, I think August may actually be the best month for video game releases so far. Great list. So hope people enjoyed that. The link is in the description for that. And mine and Logan's Twitter links in the description down below. Anyway, everyone in chat has been awesome once again. Now, sorry for the technical difficulties early on, and links going out doesn't really help that we had a week off. Hopefully things will go back to normal next week. Anyway, back this time next week. Hope everyone has a good week. We are out, everybody. Peace.